Hey, good afternoon, everyone, and welcome back to another session of Take 5. I am so glad you guys are joining me today as we continue our journey looking at Romans chapter 12, verses 9 through 21. Earlier this week, we looked at verse 14, and today we're going to zoom in and take a look at verse 15. So let's go ahead and read verses 14 through 16 to give us a little bit of context. And then we're going to zoom in on verse 15 and allow the Lord to speak to our hearts. So here we go. Grab your Bibles. Romans chapter 12, verse 14 says, "Bless those who persecute you. Bless and do not curse. Rejoice with those who rejoice. Mourn with those who mourn. Live in harmony with one another. Do not be proud, but be willing to associate with people of low position. Do not be conceited." You know, like I said before, earlier this week, we looked at verse 14 and we looked at this idea of blessing those who persecute you. And we looked at this idea of persecution and what it was, you know, what it looks like to bless those who persecute you. We even looked at, you know, the words of Jesus in the book of Matthew and in the book of Luke, where, you know, Jesus is telling us to love our enemies and to pray for those who persecute us. You know, so Paul is really echoing the words of Jesus here and how we're to treat others. And it's really what all these verses that we've been reading all the way from, you know, starting with verse 9 is really about how we interact with others. In today's verse, in verse 15, it says to rejoice with those who rejoice. Man, what a privilege and an honor it is to be able to rejoice with someone else, right? That when something good is going on in their life and they're excited, you know, maybe they bought a house or maybe they bought a new vehicle, or maybe God's just doing something really good in their job, and they're excited and they're rejoicing, that we get to, you know, be a part of that joy and just rejoice with them and lift them up and remind them of the incredible things that God is doing in their lives. And I think that does two things for us. One is when we rejoice with those who rejoice, that it strengthens our relationship with our friends, with those people that we're rejoicing with. But I think another thing it does is that it guards our hearts, right? Because the opposite of rejoicing with those who rejoice would be to be jealous. And so when we rejoice, we're actually guarding our hearts from jealousy. And we're able to share in that joy with that loved one or with that person that's in our life. So that's my first encouragement to you guys and to myself, is that we would rejoice with those who rejoice. The second half of this verse talks about mourning. And it says that we are to mourn with those who mourn. And I don't know if you've ever lost a loved one or not, you know, but there's been moments in my life when I've had people walk alongside of me, you know, in my faith, and just partner their faith with mine and just encourage me and remind me of God's love and restoration whenever I was in mourning. So I think for us, you know, it's so important that we as well extend that hand, that we're there for people that are in our lives, to be able to mourn whenever they mourn, to be able to walk alongside of them, to be there for them, to encourage them, and really just to, you know, share love and compassion that Jesus has given us to share with them. So that's my encouragement to you guys, is that one, that we would rejoice with those who rejoice, and two, that we would mourn with those who mourn. Hey, I hope you guys are blessed by this word. I love you guys. Have a great week, and we'll see you soon.